Hey guys, welcome back to Planet JeJuDa, and it is time for a Reddit video. And I have a little pouty boy because I made him turn down. Do you see him? He's mad. I made him turn down the TV. And now he's going to his room. I suppose I can just turn the TV off. I don't know, we'll see. Anyway. Oh, well then you need to come out here and watch it. He's just hiding. He's complaining because I turned it down. Well, I asked. Anyways, may I do my video, sir?
Yeah, but I want to hear it more.
You want what?
I want to hear the TV more.
Well, you can scoot up, get one of the chairs, and sit in real close to it, because it's not like a regular TV, so you're not gonna... Will you help him put a chair up close so that he can sit? We're fixing the TV problem, because he wants to be able to hear, so he needs to sit closer to the TV.
I want the blue chair.
He wants the blue chair. Anyways, I am getting way off topic. It is a Reddit video. I'm gonna get on my Reddit and find a story, crochet and knit related. Jared's getting ready to go outside. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of something. We just had pizza for dinner, so I'm drinking Pib. Cheers, and let's find our first story. All right, the boy has his tablet on instead, and I've got my readers on, so my eyes probably look funny. That being said, our first story is in crochet. It's from 1 day ago, and our headline is, "Am I the a-hole for not giving a discount to a kid?" Now, I don't know. I don't know the story, so I don't know what the context is. And just because they're a kid, I don't see why you should give a discount. I mean, people, I should say, stores don't give discounts to kids just because they're kids. So there you go. That's my 2 cents, but let's dive right in. Gosh. Okay. 26 female, was vending at a local craft fair last weekend. Oh, so this was this past weekend. Got it. I make little crochet dolls and accessories, and they've been pretty popular with my friends / acquaintances, so I thought I'd try selling them for once and see if I liked it. I price everything pretty cheap, all things considered, and I mostly just wanted to make enough to cover my table fee and maybe get a nice lunch after. I usually just give my stuff away, so my friends had to kind of push me to price things appropriately at all. LOL. I had a pretty straightforward display with all the prices on signs in front of the items. And around halfway through the day, a dad and his kid, around 8 maybe, were lingering around my area of the craft fair and looking over. I'd seen them walk past my table and look a few times, but I didn't want to be pushy. I didn't want to be a pushy salesperson, so I just smiled and kept busy crocheting in my lap. After a while, when the kid finally came up and asked for one of the dolls on display, I told her the price, and she handed me a few bills that were maybe a third of the price and said that was all she had. I was tempted to just let her have it, but there was a lot of time left at the fair to sell things to people at full price. And I thought it was kind of weird that her dad had seemingly told her to haggle with me that low when my prices are low already. So I just told her that, sorry, it's the price on the sign, and she got upset and said that she really wanted it. I told her the doll costs more than what she has, and I handed her the money back. She whined a bit and ran back to her dad. He came up and asked me if I was really not going to let a little girl have a doll and that my prices were ridiculous. I didn't really know what to say, so I just kind of stared awkwardly for a moment before repeating that the prices are on the signs and apologizing again. He kind of grumbled that I was ridiculous again, and him and his kid walked off. They kept passing by for like an hour after and glaring at me. And before they left, the dad came up again and asked me if I ever made any sales with the kind of business practice. With this kind of business practice. I didn't want to argue with him. Anymore, so I just kind of ignored him and smiled at someone else walking by. He stood there glaring at me for a really long minute and then stomped off. I feel like an a-hole because under normal circumstances, I do just give away my stuff. And if it had been closer to the end of the day, I might have been more open to haggling just to have less stuff to take home. But I didn't like that the kids seemed to kind of expect I'd just give her my hard work for less without a reason, and like her dad could have forked over the rest of the money if he really wanted her to have the doll. At the same time, though, I kind of priced things with the hope that anybody who really wanted something could probably afford it, and I wasn't exactly out with the goal of making a ton of money. So I felt like I was being kind of inconsistent with telling her no on principle. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm gonna just say no because there is a price. It does cost money to purchase the supplies and then the time, and so you price things accordingly. And anyone who knows crafting understands that it's going to be a little bit more expensive. Now, I don't know where they put their prices, but according to what their story is, their prices were lower than probably what most people would have actually charged. So that being said, just the sheer rudeness of the parent, the dad, I wouldn't have backed down either, because that's just, I'm sorry. You don't go in there and send your child in and say, this is all I've got. You don't do that at anybody else's places. You don't do that at the store. You don't go to Walmart and haggle your way down. Now, I do understand that there are times where you can haggle a price down, but in this case, you just, at least to me, you just don't do that. I would do that possibly at a yard sale or something like that, or, you know, like Facebook Marketplace. I don't know. I'm saying not the a-hole. But let's see what Reddit has to say. All right. Not the a-hole, but you really need to learn to trust yourself so much more than this. A single glowing glowering dude shouldn't trigger this level of an existential crisis. Okay? You make stuff that costs you time and materials. Selling it has other overhead. If you are not covering your cost and time, you're doing it wrong. And another person right underneath that said, not the a-hole. If the kid wanted and dad couldn't afford to help more, he could have asked, what are you willing to do, rather than use his kid and blame you when that didn't work as he expected it to. And just underneath that, it also says, not the a-hole. Wasn't the child who wanted the discount. Wasn't the child who wanted the discount. It was the nasty father who wanted to pay a third the asking price. He was not at all nice about it. OP didn't know him. Why on earth would she sell him anything for less than the cost of materials? I wouldn't have sold him anything for twice the asking price. He was a jerk. Someone else says, if he wanted his kid to have the doll that badly, he could have paid the full price, instead of trying to shame you for valuing your work. That I totally agree with, because it does, dropping stuff here, it takes time. And there's the cost of the actual item, the oh my gosh, my brain, the supplies. And people don't realize, depending on what supplies she used, they could have been expensive and therefore needing even more money. Someone else says, not the a-hole. Many people don't have a clue how much time and resources takes to produce handmade things. Someone else, not the a-hole. He was using his kids' emotions as a weapon to get an item for way less than its actual value. He probably pulled that same crap with multiple vendors at the same show you were at. Your label has value, and you already know her dad sent her over with way less than the list price. Don't feel bad. He's a scammer that thinks he's haggling. I bet he doesn't think his own personal labor would be worth a third just because someone else wants it to be. And someone else said, exactly, it's probably how he operates, and now he's passing that on to his kids. Shady, 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 and sad. People are so entitled these days. Everyone is saying, not the a-hole, not the a-hole, not the a-hole. Someone else said, hey, maybe your dad can buy it for you instead. He loves you, right? So I'm sure he would. Bully him right back. And they were saying that in parentheses, so did the seller, or the OP should have said that. I agree. Not the a-hole at all in any way, shape, or form. You're there to make money. This is a fair, and you expect to have to pay more at some places. And depending on the fair, people don't understand that there is a table fee. There is labor and supply fees. So everything adds up, and the cost of things really can get expensive depending on what it is. And you can choose to buy it or you can choose not to buy it. But it sounds like they kind of belittled this person and shamed them, and you shouldn't do that. There you go. Anyways, off to the next story. All right, so this one is 27 days ago, and it's, am I the a-hole for denying to knit for my brother and sister-in-law? And it says, I have knitted for many years. For Christmas, I knitted a sweater for my nephew. I don't expect him to understand how much work in it as he is a child. But my brother and my sister-in-law, who also knit and knows the time it takes, acted as if it was trash. That's not cool. I didn't make a scene about it, but when they came a month later and demanded that I knit multiple garments for them as if it was normal, I got angry. Afterwards, I decided that I would never make anything for them again. They say that I was overreacting, but I just got tired of them demanding and never showing gratitude. It takes a lot of time and money to make, and I have a lot of other projects I want to make, so I don't want to waste time on them if they don't appreciate it. Okay, yeah, no, I totally agree. No, you are not the a-hole. If they truly acted like it was trash, why did they even ask for something in the first place? But let's see what Reddit has to say. Not the a-hole, you get to decide what you make or knit. Someone else, not the a-hole, send them a link to a tutorial and tell them to get started on one themselves. And let's see. Someone else says, they're not knit-worthy people. You get to decide what you knit and who you give it to. Totally agree. Not the a-hole. My sister and I didn't get along growing up and aren't super close as adults, even though I care about her and feel like she does care about me. When I knit her baby a blanket and made a proportions mistake so bad that someone I considered a master of the art couldn't fix to lay flat. Oh, okay. She used it every day. In fact, she found a baby bed which actually fit the warp perfectly and draped it on that so that it looked even better. Every piece I made, sweaters, vest, raspberry bubble cap, interesting, and even a dress that turned out to be way too big to use for a year and a half was photographed, posted to show her friends and coworkers, and carefully stored. She makes knitting for her family worth the joint pain. Your brother and sister-in-law are out of line. Not only do they not value your work or understand the effort, in fact, I suspect they just want something for free and can't stand that you said or told them no. Not the a-hole, happy knitting, which I totally agree. So they acted like the sweater you knitted was trash and then demanded that you waste your precious time making more trash for them. Right, exactly. Don't play that game. Your brother and sister-in-law are the trash, not you or your work. You can either confront them or just tell them you're busy. They can always buy a sweater at Walmart. Not the a-hole. You get to decide what you make. Also, your brother and sister-in-law need to humble themselves and learn that asking politely is always better than demanding. They aren't entitled to anything. Absolutely. Everybody's not the a-hole, not the a-hole, not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Never do work like this except for people who truly appreciate your work and only if you want to do it. I agree 100%. So far, not the a-hole. There we go. I'm going to move on to something cute, and it's going to be something Halloween-y because we are in October. So let's see what we can find. Alrighty, oh my gosh, I found. Now, if you like Wednesday or the Addams family, you're gonna love this. It is Halloween Thing Micro Crochet, and it is absolutely adorable. Okay, they said she says, I based my pattern on Ravelry Patterns library thing. This one from Ravelry, however, here was quite a bit of math and then some freehand to finish it. I'm not completely happy with the bulkiness of the top of the hand, but I was absolutely thrilled with how the stitches and makeup application came out on the finished piece. It does have a wire armature inside, and so it's posable, which shows up in the last photo. But oh my goodness, that is so adorable. And I'm just realizing now that they are putting the pictures on an album to show the size, and that is just look at how little it is when they put it on their hand and then on the laptop. But that is absolutely adorable. I do not think that I would be able to even remotely do something like that because it's so small. But let's see what the comments say. Wow, really good. Thread hook size, ? Amazing work. Let's see. It's sewing cotton and 0.4 millimeter hook. Thank you. Oh my, 0.4, right? 0.4. I don't even know. So is that, I don't, maybe that's, okay. Gosh, but it's sewing cotton. I was impressed, and then when I got to pick 5, I was impressed. So cute. Well done. Love the posability. Oh my gosh, can I speak? That was literally it, you guys. So as you could tell, there was a pattern that is in the description of what she did, so I will be linking that in my description box below. You will need to have a Ravelry account, and I am so sorry, my voice is so, I don't know, it's done. Maybe I should have had some throat lozenges before this, but that being said, that is adorable. I absolutely love Wednesday. I love all the Addams families, from the old 1960s series to the movies to Wednesday, the Netflix series. Love it all. And yeah, this was fun. Hi, Jared.
Hello.
This was fun. I hope you had fun too, and if you did, I would love it if you would hit that like button, and if you'd like to be notified of any and all future uploads, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to click all on the notification bell. And with that, remember, gravity works, guys.